What's up everyone? Here we are back with video 4 of this series on options. In this video we're going to be going over how to find plays, making a watch list, and how we can separate these plays specifically for options. And the first thing I have done, and I think it is great, is narrow my list of every single ticker out there. And as we talked about before with volume, we need it in order to be able to get in and out of our position when we want. So the first thing, I'm using unusual whales here, hot chains and tickers. This tab right here shows me which tickers have the highest volume of the entire day. So this is all in preparation. First thing first, hide that. And then what I did for myself is I went through this first 50 to 65 tickers and just looked at these names and then put them into a list. The names that I've traded before are ones for sure I have. There's some others on here that don't have as great of liquidity, so that may separate your list down and make it a lot lower. If I have a smaller account, can do the same thing. So I click on Neo here, right? First thing first, I'm gonna go over here to flow. Most active chains is what I want to look for. And what I really want to see is high volume, out of the money contracts being hit that are close to expiring. Preferably that same week, for a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Preferably that same week. The next week stands out as well. But this is how I broke down that list for, smaller accounts or where less premiums involved. I'm just looking at the low and the high of the day, the bid and the ask on these contracts. These obviously right here expire or already expired. These expire next week, not too far out of the money, and we're 0.37 to 0.38. Pretty good premium there. Can play with those. Once I've gotten all those names off that, this is what I did. I created a list here of liquidity names. These are just all the names with great liquidity on those top 50. Ensuring that I do have that liquidity. Now, my first step and what I always look for once I have these names broken down into, I think it's about 30 names right here, I'm going to go through every single day and look for volume gaps, VPA gaps. VPA is over here on the side. It shows where higher volumes versus lower volumes. These nodes in here where we see further sticking out are higher volume nodes. In this case, this is where price is going to move slower. But in between nodes of high volume and other high volume, they move super fast, and it can lead to those explosive moves. A lot of times that I used to think, why the hell am I missing this move? And a lot of times it correlates to our volume gaps. Not very many people willing to step in here to defend. So if we have a good trend day tomorrow, Amazon's one that can, it can try to fill back up to that gap up towards 110, 112. I like that a lot. Preferably, I like to see volume gaps on both sides, but first thing I'm looking for are those VPA gaps, and I want to see a volume gap in one direction or another, meaning that price can move fast. For this, I love to use that 65-minute because we are day trading or plan to day trade them. If we look here on the hourly or the daily, we can see, we do have a little bit more here, so this could be a nice range, but over those past couple of days, past couple of weeks, we have a nice volume gap to the upside, which can fill pretty quick. Now, the next thing I'm looking for, I'll use this handy tool here on TrendSpider, which they're running a 65% off sale right now. Really, really great deal. Scanner, so if I hit scanner here, what I'm going to look for, I'm going to add a parameter here, condition, candlestick pattern. I'm going to hit the daily. I'm just going with an inside day. And then I'm going to scan through that liquidity list, which is just all my names that I've compiled from that hot chains and tickers. And what an inside day is the price is trapped. Basically, buyers and sellers are trapped inside. So whichever side we're able to break to is usually can lead to a big move. If I have a volume gap or a VPA gap paired with an inside day, great. That's the number one thing I'm looking for, because that can lead to those really, really explosive moves. So the only thing that pops up here for me is BA. So what I'm going to do, take that off, and we're going to look at BA. BA 65 minutes, so it looks like the high of the day. We do have volume gaps, and we have them to both sides, which I like a lot. We have this volume gap once we're under here about 175, all the way down to about 170, 169 area. which I love it because there's an upside and a downside potential. And what I do here for an inside day, hit the daily. What I'm gonna do here is just use the high and the low of the inside day. So we have, let's zoom in here. We have this previous day range, right? The next candle is completely enclosed or engulfed by this previous candle. So what I'm gonna do, mark my high, 178.03. Then we got our low here, 173. Okay, I'm gonna break this down on the 15 to see if there's a potential where I could take calls or puts maybe a little bit sooner. In this case, I like those areas. It's a pretty wide range, and would think about possibly taking puts here underneath 175. But we did bounce pretty significant off that 173. So I like that as a more safe option for puts. And then on the upside, we have these inside days here, right? And that's a big level up here at 178. So I like that with goal of 178.5. And then if we can push past this high here at 179.32, that's where an explosive move to the upside can occur. And I really like it there. Now, once I have an inside day, another aspect that can really differentiate these plays is I'm gonna go over here to live flow and just type in BA. BA is that inside day we see there. I'm gonna hit over these filters, bid, ask, none, calls, put. I want both sides. Premium, I got 25 in here. With the smaller names, you're probably gonna have to change that premium lower just because it takes a lot more contracts to even get that. For DTE, I like that 0 to 14. 0 to 14. Awesome, great. Volume, nothing, you're not going to hit anything here, whatever. Here, I'm going to exclude these deep in the monies. And I like to check these volume greater than OIs. So here we have these calls that are actually bearish because we are buying on that bid side, but I do like that. So in terms of planning out, I like those 180 calls on the upside and then those 170 calls on the downside if we get underneath those levels. So now I'm prepared for that trade. And looking at this here, a little bit bearish, but we are getting some heavy smacks on those 180 calls. So I like it a lot. Shows that people are expecting a decent size move, and it gets me prepared for that next trading day. If there is no VPA gaps, no inside days on that day, what I like to do is see how close we are to support or resistance on the daily for all of these names that I've made on this list using unusual whales. In this case, DKNG in the middle, don't like it as much. I want to see near support or resistance because that can lead to that bigger move again. Meta, another one. I do kind of like this because we do have a nice gap. Microsoft, we're approaching that resistance that was previous support. So that's one that I'll take note of for sure. MU, and I'll just go through all my names looking for that near support or resistance. And this helps me narrow my original list here of 30 some odd names down to 2 or 3. Also, besides those 2 or 3, I like to watch SPY, QQQ every day just because there are going to be some days where we do have a trend day, and SPY and Qs usually provide great liquidity. I don't have to worry about which contracts I'm taking, and they still have those nice moves. But there's other days where our tickers are going to move a lot more than just SPY and Qs. So I like that versatility, and I probably won't trade all 5 every day. That's guaranteed. I won't trade all 5 every day, but I have options, and I know what I'm going to trade, so I'm prepared for those trades. Really gets me in the mindset to go ahead and trade that next day. I know what to expect to happen, where I'm going to take my calls, where I'm going to take my puts. Now that we've kind of got a little bit basic understanding of options, what the hell they are, what we're looking for, these next couple of videos are going to get more into that fun stuff, the strategies, placing call or put triggers, what exactly I'm looking for upon entry, upon exit, how to use premium charts to nail those entries. So we're going to have some fun. My favorite strategies, of course, I love the orb, and I've become a big fan of Fibonacci levels, Fibonacci retracements. I love them. So we're going to get into those for the next couple of weeks, and it's going to be fun.